Welcome. I've spent the last few weeks browsing through some of the comments that some of you have left on this channel. And first of all, I just want to thank you for those who are engaging with these videos. It really does help for me to see what questions come up and how these videos resonate with you and with your experience. So thank you. And I've gone through it and just identified some of the questions that seem to come up over and over again. The one I want to focus on today is the question, what actually happens when I sit down to meditate? Do you know how to sit? Do you know how to turn sitting into meditation? That's the question, I think. And that's become a life inquiry for me. You may have that question and hold it with some insecurity if you're new to meditation. But it's an inquiry that even when you've meditated for many, many years, hopefully, you'll still wonder, what is it that turns this moment of sitting into meditation? And then, of course, then there's that whole overall distinction of when is it ordinary activity and when is it practice? Now, Zen has this whole approach of there is no difference, but we experience a difference. And so in this video, I want to again give you just a little guidance for an inner sequence, just a few ways to direct your attention one step after the other that will make it a lot more likely that you can release whatever it is that we experience as ordinary and open up into whatever it is that we seek, that we long for, that is calling us. And that's the very reason that we're even starting on this path, that we're even wanting to meditate. So in this sequence, what I recommend, first thing is you connect with why it matters. That's the first. And that's even before you sit down, but it'll make all the difference in the world if you do that when you sit down. So, we have in traditional Zen, we have a little custom where as you're preparing your seat, you bow to your cushion before you sit down. So you could do that if you wanted to. And what I do when I bow is every time I connect and I feel why this matters to me. Because otherwise, if it didn't matter, I could just be doing something else. I am busy and I have lots of things to do. If this doesn't matter to me, it'd be better not to do it. So this bow, or if you don't want to bow, but just this moment before you sit down, to take as a real, almost that it triggers, that it reminds you that moment. Okay, first I'm gonna just feel into and connect with why this matters to me. Why am I doing this? And you don't need reasons in your thinking. That's not it. You just more connect with an overall, probably more an atmosphere or a vague feeling or some sense of a calling. It's probably even better to just think something like, what's calling me to the cushion? So you start out with that and bow and connect with, see what arises. What's calling me to the cushion? And then as you sit down and assume your posture, what I recommend is just right as soon as you've actually established your posture, you bring your attention to how your seat is meeting the surface. Like if you have a cushion or a chair, just the surface of your sitting. So first, just feel your body meeting your cushion. Take a moment to settle in that contact. That's something everybody can do. It's not difficult. If you have your feet or your legs on the ground, then also feel that contact. Feel your entire body meeting the earth. You can feel gravity. It's actually a really helpful thing because gravity gets us out of thinking. So just feel gravity. Feel the actual physicality of your body. Sometimes we may think that meditation is for the mind, but it's really the body. It's the mind from how it emerges once there is just more presence and more attention in the body. So again, this first step I'm suggesting, or second, you take the appreciation aspect first. Second one is the grounding and the feeling how also the earth is coming up to meet your body. So you can feel both your body meeting the earth and earth coming up to meet the body. The earth is supporting our bodies. Not even asking for anything in return, it's just doing it. And so grounding here, once you start feeling that dialogue of meeting and being met, and actually releasing your mind into that contact and that feeling. Earth doesn't stop at the ground. Actually, you can have some sensitivity, earth coming up. Then you can start feeling grounding in a wider sense, which is more like, almost like as if grounding means you're feeling your participation in the whole fabric that everything is made of. You are this earth. You're the same stuff. This body is the same stuff that everything is made of. And there can actually be some kind of awareness of that. So grounding here is not just, oh yeah, I feel the earth. That's a head perspective. No, it's more like actually settling into the materiality, the physicalness of our existence, and opening into how there's some awareness of already participating in this wider fabric that everything is made of, including us. It's grounding. And once you have some feeling for that, then I recommend you now bring your attention to your lower belly, that area. It's anatomically, it's the center of our body. It's the place that, especially in sitting, but also when you're walking or losing balance, that's the area that's going to stay most stable. Like in sitting, I can rock back and forth, I can move my limbs, my thoughts are going to move, my emotions are going to move, my perceptions are going to move, but you start developing the lower belly as an area that stays in the midst of change, in the midst of everything. This is center, and center stays. That's the feeling. And you cultivate that feeling very simply by just bringing attention into this area, into the lower belly. Just bringing attention there. No expectation of what you're supposed to feel. It's much simpler than that. It's really just bringing attention into the lower belly. And when it doesn't quite stay there, kind of work with it a little bit and keep having the intention to establish center, is what I'm calling it, just center. Establish center, lower belly, almost like a reference point that you just keep checking in with in meditation. You're settling in center, some feeling of settling, in center. But also in daily life, you can kind of keep checking in with center. Meditation should not end on the cushion. The mind of meditation, you want to also have ways, of course, to carry it and feel it in your daily life. And one of these ways is you keep having some reference point, center as a reference point, always checking in with center. Center, walking, center, or talking with center. When you see something, yes, your eyes are seeing, but you can also have a little bit of attention in center, in your center. So you start doing everything with and from center. Now, I will say, I do know that for some people, actually, it's not so uncommon that people may have a hard time connecting with the lower belly, and it may not actually feel stable. That would be a good reason if it doesn't feel stable. Pleasant, unpleasant is not so important, but if it doesn't feel stabilizing, like it's actually a nourishing and good place to connect with, then I recommend you can either just pick a place that does have that feeling and make that your center. Or the one I recommend that does work for most people is when you have your hands in this mudra that we use in Zen, then just that the way the thumbs touch, that can become your center, so to speak. That can become the thing you're concentrating on. So just want to give all these options, but if this is a good place for you, then that's the one that traditionally is recommended. And there's nothing wrong if that doesn't feel like the right place. The most important is you trust your experience. So again, like you bring your attention to center and see how that affects you. If it does affect you in such a way that you feel you can settle there, then just do that. If you need a different place where you can settle, find that different place, but settle. Find a place where you can settle. It needs to feel safe. A place where you like being, where you like hanging out, where your attention, almost let your attention choose that place, actually. It's like your attention knows best. It's going to have to be a place that your attention likes returning to, so you don't always have to force your attention to return to it. So you find that place. I'm just going to keep talking now as if we're like relating to the lower belly. Okay, so you've settled in that place. And once you've done that, and again, that can take some time, now you're filling it with attention. It makes a huge difference. And now I recommend, let not I feel that place, but let the place feel itself. Maybe, wait, how does that work? I can't do that. It's okay. Just stay with it a little bit and see, what is it like? What would it be if that place feels itself? Not I feel it, but it feels itself. And be with that for a little while. The thing is, the more that's established, it's like what happens there simultaneously is almost like the way the mind wants to always control our experience, that is releasing. Now, the mind is not doing anything. It's just the body is feeling itself. The center is feeling itself. And that is helpful for the next step, when you want to sort of have some feeling of just relaxing the mind, just like almost like dropping control out of the mind, dropping any idea of trying to fix anything, trying to do anything. Drop the idea of meditation. Just drop any agenda you may have and only just take a bath. You can consider all of your experience like it's an ocean. And now you're not trying to get anywhere. It's like we're not in a competitive race here in which you need to swim or do anything. And you're now just releasing yourself into the wide ocean of your own experience. And it's just you, it's just you, it's just us. So it's fine, just release control. Once the mind can, and that may take also again a little while, don't expect for, oh, I should be doing this in the first 5 minutes of my first meditation period. I'm describing subtle moves here, so spend time and see how they each feel, and trust what feels right. But if you can release your mind, then or even if you can't, if you feel you can't, then still you can have some feeling of just holding the mind simply present, almost like just there to listen, as if the mind was saying, hey, I'm just here. I don't want anything. I don't need anything different. I'm not trying to fix anything. Just here. I'm just here. If your mind can do that, or sometimes do that, or you can train your mind, then you can start letting your body appear in the presence of the mind and the deep listening of the mind. And I like that better personally than kind of doing a body scan. This is more like the body now gets permission to appear in a presencing mind, in the presence of the mind. And now the body can like almost call for the kind of attention it needs and where it needs it. What I find when I sit, and I can do this forever, that's the part that can just really feel so much healing. So it can feel so good as I sit there and my mind profoundly leaves me alone. And so it's just like now the mind just shows up to presence and provide what's being called for. The mind is being very generous in meditation. It's not, it doesn't want anything. It's just being generous, present, nice. And so the body then can, like, sometimes I have contraction, or like I'm holding tension, or I'm still holding something that hurt me or whatever. And so I can, those areas, those places where that's held in my body, they will become, they will show sort of. And then it's like the mind can now that it's listening, it's almost like, oh, now the mind is finally listening. Sometimes that's exactly what the body has been waiting for. So now the mind just provides the kind of attention that's needed here. So the body calls for, oh, I just need to feel a little mind energy embrace, and the mind provides that gentle, soft feeling of attention. It's like it's not just attention, it's almost, I feel like it's energy, it's attention, it's it's a kind of broad and deeply nourishing feeling. So I sometimes call it attenergy, attention and energy, a kind of attenergy that's like a nectar flowing from the generous mind into the receiving body. What I've discovered is this starts weaving body and mind together, not two separate experiences, but it's body-mind, and it starts weaving the body into the field of wider existence. The moment the mind is woven into the body and the body is woven into the fabric of existence, we have a whole system that we can trust. It's at that moment that we can trust. Nothing is cut off, nothing is excluded. That's what makes something trustworthy. Everything included, everything allowed. All right, thank you very much.